Hey there everyone, and welcome to complete backend development using Django. So again, I'm really excited, really pumped up because we are about to create a fresh new project. And we have come quite a long way. We didn't knew anything about Django, and now you are at a position that you can at least make a decent website, but there are a couple of very essential things that we are still missing. One of them is we don't know how to attach our static files like your CSS file, your JavaScript file, maybe Bootstrap file, or maybe anything else like our separate CSS file. We don't know how to attach them, as well as we want to get more interaction with the database. We have just seen the tip of the iceberg, what this database can do, and obviously we want to explore that. And yes, you guessed that right, this is going to be the goal of this project. This project is going to be totally centric towards article writing. You can also call that as a blog writing, kind of a Quora thing, or no, we are not creating exact Quora, but kind of a personalized one. Okay, so the goal is really simple. Number one goal is to learn how we can attach those separate CSS files, or known as static files. And the goal number two is a little bit more interaction with the database. Okay, so with this, we're going to create a new project. So let's just go ahead and go up here. So we have already 3 projects here. So let's create a new folder, and this is going to be our 04 project 4. So there we go. Okay, and we're going to go inside this and we're going to create a project. Open up your terminal or command prompt. If you're on a Windows, no big deal. We are going to go on to desktop. This is, I guess, 04. Nope, it is Django exercise and then 04 project 4. There is nothing inside here. Okay, so you all know how to create a Django project. This is super easy. So we're going to say Django-admin, and then we need to start our project. So start project, and then we have to name it. Now, yes, I really screwed up in naming the things in the past. So I'll be calling it as website and my app as articles. Okay, so that's how I really want to call them. So let's just call this as website. This is going to be my project name itself. And there we go. It was really quick, really fast. And there we go. Website is here. Obviously, the next thing is to drag and drop this folder on my Atom so that it can open up everything. And right from here, we can create a new project here. Okay. So let's start a new app, and that is going to be done. First, we need to go into website, because all of this thing is done by this manage.py. This is a super important file. So again, this is going to be run using Python 3. And after that, we have to say start an app. And I'm going to call my app as, let's just say article, or maybe articles. That would be good. Okay. And there we go. Okay, my bad. I forgot to list the Python 3 manage.py. My bad. Manage.py, then start app and articles there. Okay, let's hit that and we can see our articles app is now created. And just right from here, what I want to do is I want to run 2 more commands. First one is migrate. This is how you actually do the things. So just go ahead and run the migrate. There we go. So all the database is now populated, and then finally we can run the server. So run server. Okay. And there we go. Should be up and running. And I can just copy this and I can paste that here, and it should be up and running. There we go. Looks pretty good. And notice, first time we took so much of the time in creating this, and now we are just cruising through it. Even more, we know what is going to be our first step. We can open up our website, which is my project. Articles is my app. Okay. So go into settings.py, and we know that what we want to do. We want to list our app here in the installed app. So go ahead here and name that. So article, and make sure I have added an S there, and I should name it correctly. Articles. There we go. And for housekeeping purposes, always don't forget to add this comma. This is really good practice. So there we go. So this is all done. Now our app is here and we have already browsed through the database. Okay. So now the goal is really simple. We want to create a simple admin interface through which I can add kind of a article, and that's it. Article is going to have my name, whatever my username is going to have a title and some text. That's it. Let's keep it minimalistic, as simple as possible. Okay, so I think this is good for this very lightweight video. In the next video, we're going to be touching up our models.py in our articles app, and we'll be writing the models. Obviously, we are not going to be just writing it. We'll understand a little bit more about foreign key concept as well. So that's it for this video, and I'll catch you up in the next one. Hey there everyone, and welcome to Complete Backend Development using Django. So we're creating a new project, a simple article, and I want you to think along with me, okay? Now think this is a simple article website where you just log in, write an article, and that's it. So what kind of database you would like to have for this? It's really simple in this case. We want simply a text title, maybe an end text, and maybe kind of a user name. That's it. No big deal, just 3 things. But these things can go really complex when you want to have multiple users. And this brings us to a next topic, which is database design. Now, just to give you a heads up start, we are not going to discuss the database design much here because it is itself a very lengthy and complex thing itself. If I'll be talking about it, we would be completely deviated from Django. But I will touch onto that a little bit so that you can understand what is happening here. Again, this is not like too much required for this course, but I would highly recommend you to, after completing this course, take some of the courses on database design, and especially about one-to-one, many-to-one, one-to-many relations and all these things. So let's talk about what is happening here. Now in this case, let's just say you want to have an author can write multiple articles. But one article cannot be written by multiple authors. So in this case, we want a simple kind of many-to-one relation here. There can be many articles being written by one author. So this is what we are following here. But again, this database design is a whole lot concept. Just to give you a few heads up start, let me just zoom that a little bit here. We can see that we have a quick example here how database is being created here. So we just simply say first name is models, and this models.model is actually creating all these things in the backend. We're simply saying models.char field, and then we are having a char field. We can assign maximum length as well here, just passing an argument, and at the backend, this is what is happening. Create table, and then we are automatically being assigned an ID as well in the database, which is a primary key, and first name and last name, and all of these things happen. Now if you go a little bit at the bottom here, you can notice a couple of other things are happening. Field options are there, and just go a little bit and we are gonna find this primary key here. So there is an automatic primary key field here, which is ID. And if I go here, I can see the foreign key, many-to-many field, and one-to-one field. These are all discussed. Reading is like the best thing for developers. So let's click on this foreign key now, and let me show you how the foreign key works here. And there we go. So you can make anything as a foreign key, manufacturer or whatever you have called in here, and you can just add a dot foreign key and can add that element as a foreign key. Now here is a quick thing that is already written here. I'm just telling you that it is already written. Whenever you're using a foreign key, you have to mention this on delete method. This is compulsory, and you have to write model.cascade. What it is going to happen when something is being deleted, it just takes care of that. So this is coming up from these documentation. I highly recommend you to read this. Everything is just written here. Again, reading there is no exception with that. I cannot help you further in that. You have to just worry about that. Okay. Luckily for us, in our case, our database is going to be really simple so that we can understand this foreign key concept as well. Let's just go back here. Now go into your articles, which is my app, and we're going to go into models.py. So we're going to create our models here. Okay. So what we need to do is, first of all, let's create a class. This is going to be our class. You can call your class whatever you like. I'm going to call this as article, just one, not articles, and make sure the first letter is capital here. This is compulsory. This is a class. And then we are going to say models.model. From the models, we are importing a model. And again, remember that it is going to help us to write all the queries. Okay, so next thing, we require actually 3 things here. We want to say we need an author, escape there, and we need a title there. Okay, and we need a text here. Okay, these are the 3 things that we require. Now for the author, what we're going to do is, let me just show you here. We're going to say models dot foreign key, and make sure you are capitalizing it as whatever they are. Okay, so we are having this guy model.foreign key, and what we are going to make our foreign key. Notice there it was mentioned as manufacturer. We're going to be using something which is already defined in Django, and this is auth.user. Now from where this is coming up, let me show you that first. If you go into your settings.py, notice that we already do have an admin app being installed, but we also do have this auth installed. Auth is kind of a default way of handling the user authentication in the Django. We don't have to do much, it is there already. So we're using the way. Now notice how we created a super user when we were doing our last app. We will be using that exact same user as our foreign key so that he can just write the articles here. Okay. Now separated by comma, we have to mention this on delete method as well. So on delete, and on delete is going to be equal to models dot cascade. And in case you are wondering about that a little bit, go ahead and you can just copy this exactly and we can have it. Okay, I'll also copy this ending comma just for housekeeping purposes, and you can see that this is exactly what we have written. And I have copied and pasted just to make sure that I'm not making any typo. I'm a very typo kind of a guy. I make them a lot. I accept that. Okay, so now this is all good. So our author part is being dealt up automatically by auth.user, which is an already installed app. But for the title, this is not the case. We have to mention this field. So we're going to say models dot, and we'll be saying char field. Previously we used a text field. Let's just use a different one this time. So field, there we go. And in this, you can also mention how many characters you are expecting. Now, I think I'm gonna say max underscore length. I hope I'm writing it correct, spelling wise. And let's just say we want something to be like maybe 200. It's totally on you. You can define 80, 10, whatever you like. This is totally up to you. So this is our second thing. The last thing is our article text. Okay, now text, I am pretty sure we're gonna go with the text field, so let's just go with that. So text field, make sure you're watching carefully about the spacing here, this uppercase letters here. Oh god, I can't even talk. So there we go. So we have created this, and again we're gonna define one more thing which we did in the last video or in the last project. We did it afterwards. And that is defining this. Notice underscore underscore. These are two underscore, and we're going to say str underscore underscore, and we're going to call that as self. And then we're going to define that as return, and then self dot title, if I can write that correct. And there we go. Now what this is going to do, this is going to simply make sure that our objects don't have just the object name. Their name is defined by this title, whatever you are naming them. Okay, so that was pretty good talk. We haven't done much in this video, but this was a pretty informative kind of thing. Okay, so this looks all good. The next task would be obviously to make migrations here. So we are going to be doing that in the next video. Let's go ahead and do that in the next video. Hey there everyone, and welcome to complete backend development using Django. So just to give you a quick idea, we have created our app. We have talked a little bit about the foreign keys and the one-to-one, many-to-one relation. We have done the settings.py, informed it that we have created a new app, and we have just done something in the models.py. Okay, let's go ahead further, and before you even continue further, I will make a mistake here deliberately and you have to fix it. Okay, so watch it closely. Okay, so the next thing is we have done our models.py. Now the next thing is make sure that our existing database is aware of it. And we do that using migration. So in case you noticed, previously I mentioned you these commands. So watch it closely and you have to say out that command name. It's really simple. It's Python 3. It's going to be manage.py. And first what we say before migrating. I hope everybody said make migration. So we're gonna say make migrations. And when you're making migration, as I told you, you have to name your app, not whatever the class you have created. You have to name your app. Okay, make sure you do remember that. And in case you remember, I mistyped that in the previous project, so it's gonna be articles, and I hope I have typed it correct this time. So we are preparing it to migrate. So hit enter, and there we go. It has prepared it, but it hasn't done the entry in our app itself. Okay, so the next thing that you have to do is you have to migrate it. So you have to simply say, instead of make migration, migrate. Okay, and then again you have to mention your app name, because there can be many apps in your project, and you might want to do migration for certain apps but not for all. Okay, so that's why this command is super helpful. And we did that, and it's absolutely fine. Okay, but there is an issue. We are having our app. In this app we are having our admin as well, but we haven't created our app login and password. Notice it's not allowing me because my server is not running yet. Okay, so let's just do that and create our users. So we're gonna say manage.py, please create a user for me. So I'm gonna say create super user. It always gives me a feeling of Superman. So create super user, hit enter, and whatever your name is, my name is Hitesh, and I'm gonna be just using my name only. And email address, of course, why not? You always want to collect data. So there we go, and I hope I typed that correctly, and there we go, looks good. Password, okay, enter. Okay, and there we go, super user created successfully. So looks pretty good. And now let's just run this. So we're gonna say manage.py and run server. In case you didn't notice, I have already made that mistake. So run server. Okay, and it's running. I can hit a reload, and come on, there we go. So this is my name, and there we go, password, enter, login. There we go. Now what is the mistake here? First of all, that's a challenging question. The mistake is I have made my models, but somehow these models are not being shown in my administrative area here. So go ahead, pause the video and add that somehow in this administrative area. Go ahead, pause the video. Okay, so I hope everybody tried that. That was a pretty easy thing for everybody to do that. Let's just go that in case you didn't did that. Really sad thing. You should focus more. So go into your admin.py and register your models here. Okay, it's really simple. We're gonna say from.models. This is the file I want to have, and I want to import article. And notice this article is exactly same as whatever my class name is, in this case article. Okay, so this is the model that I want to import, obviously. And now I simply want to say admin.site.register, and what you want to register, in this case article. Okay, there we go. That's really a simple part, and our server should restart automatically without any error. There we go. And if I hit a reload, there we go, I can see articles here. That is pretty good. Okay, looks pretty nice. Now what I can do is I can simply add any article here. Let's just go ahead and add an article. Notice here in the author, automatically my name is popping up, because obviously the more user you'll be having it here, all of them will be automatically coming up here. So okay, so I want to write a blog, and what would be an awesome blog? Something like complete front end development, which is one of my best-selling course, development. Let's just write something here, or learn complete front end development, and you will enjoy that. Okay, so there we go, we have written it here pretty quickly, and we are gonna hit a save here, and there we go, it's written. And notice this string is coming up from the title because we have mentioned that. You should always be aware of what kind of code is triggering what kind of event. So this is happening because of this. Okay, that looks nice, and we are successfully able to create our post here. Just for the fun purpose, I'm going to add one more article so that we have at least a couple of articles here. So we're going to say this is again, and let's just say React Native is awesome. So let's just say learn to make iOS and Android app using React Native. There we go. Save that and we should have. Okay, so we are having two articles now. I think this is more than enough what we want to have. Okay, now there are a couple of things that we need to work on. This is our URLs and everything is working, but there is nothing so far which is displaying them on our home page or any page in as a matter of fact. So we need to learn how we can display them on the web page as well. But I think this is a good start and a good, very small steps we are taking here. In the next video, we are going to take these articles and we'll try to throw them on the main web page, and this time we'll be creating a separate CSS file so that we can learn how to load these static files as well. So that's it for this video, and I'm going to catch you up in the next one.
Hey there everyone, and welcome to Complete Backend Development using Django. So let me just give you a quick revision what we have done so far. We have created a new project, created a new app, articles. We have made sure that our app is aware of it, created a few models, discussed a lot about it, and created an admin.py. Make sure that the admin is aware of our models. That's it. Now the next step is we want to make sure that our apps, whatever we are writing at the backend, is visible at the very home page, this home page. Okay, we don't want this rocket to be launching up. Okay, so again, just before you get started, let me tell you that we are not going to focus much on HTML and CSS and Bootstrap part, at least not in this project. Sure, in the next project, we are going to be focusing a little bit on designing as well. But in case you want to go more on designing, go ahead, check out my complete front-end development course, or as a matter of fact, wherever you want to learn, just go ahead. This course is not about front-end, so but still, let's just go ahead. Enough of talking. So again, you know that first thing that we need to do is go into this urls.py and make sure we are throwing the things to our app itself. Okay, and we're going to be saying, let's just include that first of all. Include, and then we're going to make sure that our path is correct. So where we want to display all these articles, maybe onto very home page here, and then we're going to separate it by comma, and we're going to be saying include, and in the include we want to mention our app name. In this case it's article or articles, yes, articles.urls. okay, so this is where we want to throw it here. Now, in case you have already noticed, we don't have this urls.py file there. So we're going to save that and we're going to create that. Right click and create a new file. We'll be calling it as urls.py. Make sure you add an S there, urls.py. This is a framework. It doesn't allow you to do anything what you want to do. And then just like always, copy and paste. And there is a strong reason why I'm recommending all of you to copy and paste, because even a slightest mistake, like you might be having a spell mistake in the URL patterns, can lead you to crash, and it's really hard to debug sometime. So at an initial stage, I would recommend you to just copy and paste it. Okay. So in our urls.py, we can get rid of this admin. We don't need that. And we can also get rid of this. We don't need you. Okay, so that is good. We also don't need include. We just can work with the path. So on our path, we don't want to say include. We want to refer to a simply view that we haven't yet created. Okay, so first of all, we can go and create that view. It would be better if we can just create that view first and then come back here and add that into our URLs. It's totally personal preference. Okay. So let's just create this view. So we want to say, first of all, we want to add a class, and this class is going to be article, what should be article list view, maybe, like whatever you want to call that. Okay. And of course we won't need this render here. We'll be importing Django.render views, oops, where is the dot? Django.views dot generic, Django.views dot generic, and we're going to be importing list view. Obviously the blog posts are usually the list. Okay, and just copy and paste that as a parameter. Looks pretty good. And then what you really want to say, in this case, just template underscore name, and that is going to be home.html. Okay, now one more thing here. This is not going to be the static file. This is going to fetch things from the database. So obviously we have to import our models as well. So let's just do that. From dot models, we're gonna say import. We are gonna import whatever the file name was, in this case article. Okay, I remember that. Okay, so there we go. Now this article needs to be fetched as well. So what you have to say, it's really simple. You just have to say model is gonna be coming up from article. There we go, that's it. Now this template is completely aware of this. We can run the loops and do all the things that we usually do. So now I can go back to my urls.py file, and here I can mention that. So I can say on the home page, what I want you to do is, first of all, let's just import the view here. So we're gonna say import, not the import, from, okay, there we go, from the current directory, we want to import views. So just import all of the views, whatever they are. And on the home page, I want to say views dot, and yeah, I'm really bad in the memory. So this article list view, just copy this, paste that here, and this needs to be served as view. There we go. We have done it in the past, so it should be really easy for you. And don't forget to name it as well. If you can type that correct, I know you can type better than me. So there we go. So this is all done. We have got a view which is aware of our models. We have created a url.py. Our main URL is also aware about this articles.url, and we have made all these things here as well. And in case you missed that thing, we are not having any template. Okay, how can you miss that? Okay, so we're gonna creating a new template here. So right click and new folder, and this folder is gonna be saying templates. There we go. And in the template we can say something like a home.html. So let's just say template new file, and that is going to be home.html. There we go. Okay, so it looks pretty good, but of course this is not all the thing that we are gonna be doing. Let's just have a base.html as well here so that we can write some things into it. New file, and we're gonna have a base.html. We have learned that concept already, so why not to revise that once again. Now the next thing is go into settings.py, and we need to configure our templates. Notice our dir directory here is for templates. So this is all good, and all we have to do is just write the same thing again. os.path.join, and then we're going to join it to the base directory. So base underscore dir for directory, and we're going to name our folder there, templates. Okay, you can name it anything, just mention it whatever you like to have here. Usually it's a good thing to just call it as template. Okay, so this is looking pretty good, I would say. And now we can go to base.html. Okay, I know this is quite a lot. We have done a lot of things in just one video. So yes, it's a good thing that we can just take a little bit rest. So go ahead, drink a glass of water, and we're gonna again come back here into this base.html, and we're gonna write some more code into it. This is fun.
Hey there everyone, and welcome to Complete Backend Development using Django. So next up, we are going to be working on our base.html, and just to give you some heads up thing, I am using Emmet, which is a really powerful plugin, and I highly recommend everyone to just spend some time. It's not much to learn there, it's just a weekend thing, and I already do have a free course at my website Learn Code Online. So go ahead, check that out. It's absolutely free. And I think everybody should learn, give some a kind of a weekend for this plugin, and you should learn that. And what it does is you can just write an exclamatory, hit a tab, it's going to fill the boilerplate code. Maybe you want in some of the unordered list, maybe you want a list item to be like, let's just say you want 6 of them, just hit tab and it just do all kind of a magic stuff. And yes, this is all plugin. So pretty good. We are not here to talk about this, okay? We are here to talk about our base.html, which looks good. And in the title, and I'm going to be saying my names and articles can be found here. So that's good article name here. And in the body, let's just have a couple of things here. Okay, we will not be talking about much of the things here, but it's actually good. So let's just have a simple header here. Let's follow the HTML5 things here. And we're going to having an h1 tag, and this is going to be called as my personal, or you know what, we can just make it an anchor tag. And let's just put it onto the slash, which is root. And we're going to be saying like my personal, personal blog. Okay, not blog. This is good. This is going to be our base file. And here we're going to have a container. Let's just have a separate division. And not just the division, let's just call this as container so that later on you can style it with a bootstrap if you wish. And I think that's pretty much it. Let's just call it as a container here, or block content. So again, it's really simple. Whatever you want to replace it from our home.html is going to be going it here. And all the stylings that you want to add, like adding CSS file, we can do it here. So again, it's really simple. Have curly braces and 2% sign. And then we're going to say here, we say block content. There we go. And we can Command Shift D to duplicate that. And we can say end block. So end block, come on. There we go, end block. Okay, so this looks good. And whatever is going to be coming up from our home.html is actually can come up here. So that's pretty good. Looks pretty decent, somewhat like a website at least. Okay. Now we want to just write our home.html. In our home.html, the only thing that we want to simply have here, like entries from the database. So again, first thing that we'll be doing is curly braces and person, and kind of a thing which extends the base.html. So we're going to say extends, I hope I wrote that correct, extends, and this is going to be saying base.html. Make sure extend is like a command, just like a URL. So whatever your file name is, you put that inside the quotes here. So base.html, this is important. A lot of people does this mistake, including me during my early days. So let's just use a curly braces again, and then 2 percentages. There we go. Okay, and then we're gonna say block content. There we go. And inside in here, we're gonna be writing the content. So we're gonna say percent curly braces and person, and we're gonna be saying, you know what, this is end block content, and it looks like that I missed it on the base, and yes, it's being missed. And block content. Okay, remembers a few things, otherwise I could have been just looking around for the errors there. Okay, no big deal, we can find those errors, no big deal. Now the next thing is we want a simple division, and in fact let's just name this division as well, Control Z, and we're gonna call this as article. Okay, I think that's it. Article can be a container of articles. Okay, and inside that we are gonna have, let's just say an h3 would be good, I think so. And then in the anchor tag we can just say this is not going anywhere as of now, and just use 2 set of curly braces because this is gonna come up. Now we want a variable to come inside here, and since we have mentioned there inside the view that this model is going to be coming up from article, now this file, this home.html, is aware of it, so I can just loop through it. Okay, so what I can say here is I want to loop through this entire article division here. So it's going to be really easy just to use 2% sign, and we can write a simple for loop. So we're going to say for rt, I just want to call it article, but I don't want to do that. RT is from now onwards is like a short form of articles. Okay, it is not articles, it is RT. Okay, just from right now, a rule that I'm making here. Absurd me. So we're gonna say object underscore list. Again, object list is coming up from the database. And what I want to say here is this h3 is gonna be my title. So I can say RT dot and title. So this is gonna be coming up from a title. And the next thing that I want to have is a paragraph. So have a paragraph. Again, 2 set of curly braces. And then I'm going to be saying, you know what, this is rt dot text. Did I call that as a text? Okay, I'm a little bit confused. Okay. And let's just see our models. And yes, I called the text. Okay, this is what I'm mentioning here. rt.title, rt.text, in case you got confused. I do get confused sometimes, don't worry. Okay, so there we go. And obviously don't forget to close this for loop. This is super important. This is kind of a very common mistake. Okay, and we're gonna use 2% sign again, and we're gonna say this is end for. Okay, so now how many articles you're gonna be having? This is gonna be like these, how many divisions will be automatically created. And I think this looks pretty good. Okay, so let's just save that, and probably we can see something here. And there we go, dot models. We do have a mistake there from dot models, and this mistake is in views.py. So probably we could just go there and fix it up. Okay, views.py and dot models import. Okay, so I found out my mistake, and it was import dot models for import article, and I know probably you have already guessed that it is going to be from dot models import article. My bad, totally my bad. And now obviously server has restarted. These are the mistake that you should see, that yes, everybody makes mistake. So let's just have it run that, and there we go, complete front-end developer, which is link, and then we have got some articles here. Obviously it doesn't go anywhere, but it looks good. Not my finest work, I would say. But we are going to learn that how we can style them a little bit. We won't be styling it up much, but only just that we can learn how we can add those templatings and all these stuff. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Pretty good start, I would say. And just for the fun purpose, let's just add one more article. So we're going to say slash admin. Okay. And I want to add one more article. And let's just say this was added just for fun. Okay, this article has no meaning, but still this is fun. Okay, so we have just got one. And obviously if I go on to my homepage of the website, there we go, we can see the third one here. Pretty good, pretty awesome. So this is a pretty good thing. You have learned that how we can solve the stuff as well, sometimes just staring on it. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And in the next video, we're going to learn how we can add some of the customized CSS there so that it doesn't look like this raw. It looks at least decently beautiful. So that's it for this video, and I'm going to catch you up in the next one. Hey there everyone, and welcome to Complete Backend Development using Django. So let me tell you a good news and one more exciting news. Okay, so the first news is that this is just a sidebar. Okay, now by default, Django looks in your app, in this case articles, in your app with two folders. The first folder is templates and the second one is static. Okay, so if you don't create like a directory level templates and you create it inside the articles, you can actually you don't need to do anything inside the settings. Django directly looks for this for templates as a template name, and it also already have a configuration for static as well. We'll learn about that. That's a default thing. But the another exciting thing is that we are learning about customization. You would have never explored this much deep of the settings.py file if we haven't created this customization about the templates. Similarly, we'll be doing something like this. Okay, so on to our very directly level structure, we're going to be creating a new folder and we're going to call this as static. Okay, and let's just have a static folder here. Now again, this static, we have to link it in the settings.py because we are creating a kind of a top level static, and this is a common practice you'll see in a big projects, because there are some files which are common for every single thing, not specially for the app can have its own separate templates and all these things, but sometimes entire uh, website needs to follow some of the static css rules and some templating and all of that. So that's why I'm teaching you, because if you'll be working on some kind of startups and all these things, they do follow this kind of structure. Okay, so just adding some things. Now go into your settings.py file. Obviously there is one settings.py file which is our app level, not the app level, which is our project level. So here you can see that there is an article here as well for how to static files as well. Static URL is by default /static, but this is not going to do everything. So what we have to say, we have to say static files, and again it needs to be all in caps and _dir. This needs to be written at the very bottom, just below the static URL. So static files _dir, and then we have to array that, and we'll be writing almost same thing, os.path.join. Oops, I can't spell that, join, and then we're gonna have base _dir or directory, and separated by comma, then the name of our folder, which is static. Okay, so that's it. This is all the setting that you have to do, and now it's going to be looking up for the static files inside this static, like css, maybe you want to add js or something like that. So obviously a common directory structure is inside the static. We create a new folder which is named as css, and then we create a new file inside that css. Maybe you want to call it as style, or maybe base style, because this is going to be followed by everybody. So base styles.css, whatever you want to write that. Now just for like simple rules, we're gonna saying like I'm gonna be selecting a body, and the body is gonna have a background color of a little bit like maybe C1, which is a little bit grayish, not much, and all the font color would be, so I'll be changing the color to be absolute white, and that would be FFF, means white, and there we go. Nothing much for the styling, but this is all I want to do right now. Okay, so we have created a new folder and we have created a new file inside it. That's it. That's pretty much it. Now we can go to our base.html. If I can find that, there we go. In our base.html, we obviously have to link it up. Okay, and linking a css file is, you might already know that, link : css. This is a shortcut again for me, and usually we link that like something like css, and then there is a style.css, but in this case we cannot do that. We are working in a Django, a framework, a templating engine, so we have to mention that. Okay, so what we can say that, you know what, this our style file is a static file, so we need to get rid of that, and its linking is going to be done like that. So use your favorite curly braces and then %%, and then it's not URL this time, this is static. Okay, this is a difference here. And then static is kind of a command to look for the static file. By default, we have done the settings, so it's going to be looking inside here automatically. Then we are going to be mentioning, mention that in the codes. We're going to be saying CSS, and then there is a file which says base style, I guess so, base styles, okay, there's an s.css. Okay, that's it, you have done it, and this is all linked up now. So obviously our server might have restarted, and there we go, it should be restarted, and if we can hit a reload, there is a couple of mistakes. I think base styles.css, what we are missing, let's just see and check that out, fix that up. Okay, so it says base styles, did I named it correctly? Okay, I again found out my mistake, and it was actually in the settings.py. So go into your settings.py file, and again I mentioned you, these are like frameworks, even a slightest mistake can break out entire code. And this actually is a pretty easy to track it down. It says static, did you forgot to register this load tag? And yes, we in fact forgot that. So go into your settings.py and just add an s there, it's dirs, and if you go up at the top here as well, you can get that, it is dirs. So I forgot to do that. And also we are missing one more thing. We forgot to inform this base.html file that, hey, you know what, we'll be loading a couple of static files as well. So it's not a big deal. Let's just go ahead and do that. And what we'll be doing in our base.html, let's go at the very top, just like very, very top. And we're going to add 2% signs again. And we're going to make sure that this is aware. So we're going to say load static files. Okay, so now this file, our base.html, is aware of our this guy. So I think this should be good. And let's just finally test out one more time. Hit that. And there we go. Some nice, awesome gray color. And there we go. And in case for all those guys who got a little bit confused there because I literally made an error there. I apologize there for. But again, go into your first of all settings.py file. Make sure that this directory is saved as dirs. That was my first mistake. And obviously I forgot to add the load static file here as well. But again, errors are good. Now you know that when you make these kinds of mistakes, what kind of errors you are going to be getting. So there we go. We figured it out. And just add a command static, and there we go. Now the advantage of this is you can add as many files now here, and you can just link them up wherever you like. And this removes a lot of stuff for us, and it's really actually good. So my recommendation to you would be really simple, that go ahead and I would like you to just modify this however you like. Maybe you want to add something more stuff, or maybe just like that. So go ahead, make that a little bit beautiful, and just post the screenshot of how beautiful you are able to make that. It's not a big deal. It's just a matter that you go into your CSS file and just write some code. There we go. So that's it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed this. And yes, I made a couple of mistakes there. I apologize for that. That's it for this video, and I'm going to catch you up in the next one.
Hey there everyone, and welcome to Complete Backend Development using Django. So let's just add a couple of more fun functionality to this article website. And this is really simple. Anybody just can click on the title and should be redirected to its own separate page where he can just chill out and just read the article, and there should be a separate URL for that as well. Okay, so no big deal. We can do that, and not a very good thing. Not a good thing, I mean to say, really we need to focus here, and I should stop talking. There we go. So the thing is really easy. We just need to add a view, separate view for that new file. We need to create a new template file, and we have to inform the URL as good as sound. So let's just add a new class, and you can call this whatever you like. I'm going to call this as article detail view, and we're gonna put a parenthesis. Now also make sure you import this detail view as well. I haven't typed it right now, but make sure in your file it's not there. So go ahead and type this comma and a detail view as well, and just put that in the parenthesis. And I highly recommend to check out the Django view generic. There are a lot of them, and we'll be discussing a lot of them in this course. So make sure you have that. Now let's talk about a thing which we haven't talked. So first of all, we have talked about the template names. So let's just write that template underscore name. This template name can be anything. I'm going to be calling it as detail.html so that anybody can just go there. And we have also seen that we can import our model as well. So we can simply say model is going to be equal to article. And if I save that, this is how it works. And notice in our home.html, we are just using this article as RT, and this gives us an object list, okay? And sometimes people get confused that what is this object list, and why even we have to call this object list if we want to have a loop. Now, there are ways by which you can modify its name if you like it, but it's not like super important. But yeah, a lot of people like to just modify that, okay? So in that case, you can simply say that I want to change my context name. So I can simply say context underscore object underscore name, and then you can name it whatever you like. In this case, let's just call it as, maybe you want to call it as Batman, or maybe anything else. So now the context name is changed. Now you don't have to say object underscore list and all these things, and you don't have to say like here what we are saying like rt.text, or maybe just like that. You can just simply use that Batman here. So this is our first step. This is just, if you don't want to do that, it's completely okay. You can just mention their article dot something and article, all of that. But now we'll be calling it as a Batman. So I think this is a more good styling advantage if you just say to me. So there we go, our view is ready. Now we're going to go into template and create a new file with the name of detail.html. There we go. And this detail.html is obviously going to extend the base first of all. So let's just have 2% sign, and then it's going to say I am going to extends base.html. There we go. Pretty easy stuff. Not a big deal. And then we are going to obviously be rewriting the block content. We do have this block content here. Probably I can just copy this here. And there we go. So we do have a block content. We are ending the content as well. Pretty good. Pretty easy stuff. And then we're going to have a division with the name of details. And maybe you can later on style that. We're going to have an h2 for a tag, a couple of curly braces, and then here you can simply say Batman because you have changed the context name. You can simply say Batman.title. Again, the object is still the same, which is coming up. You have just changed its context name, so no big deal there. And then in the paragraph, again, we are going to be saying Batman.text. And again, our model is still same, so we'll be calling it as title and text. So there we go. Pretty easy stuff that we have done so far. Okay. And now we have to inform our URL. But before I do that, make sure I copy this because, I always forget that. Now let's go into urls.py, and we are having a view for this guy. I can just say Command Shift D, and I can just say views dot this guy, Command V, article detail view as view. And now what should be the name here? So name can be it can be a little bit tricky that what we are actually naming it, but it's totally on to you. I'm going to be calling it as my article underscore page, maybe. Totally up to you, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But the question is, what should be the path here? This is a little bit tricky. So what I can say here is, I can say this is going to be article, and then I'm going to be putting a slash, and notice what I'm doing here is, I'm using it to arrow brackets here. I'm mentioning an integer, put a colon there, and then I'm using a pk. Can anybody tell what is this pk? This pk is primary key. Now, by default, Django automatically generates the primary key for you. And this is the reason when you go onto your /admin, you can automatically see if I go into articles, they are arranged according to something. And this is internally happening. All of them are getting a unique ID for all of that. And that unique ID is also your primary key. And that is an integer. Again, all of this is written in the documentation, nothing that I'm making up. So obviously you can change that a little bit however you like, but this is like the base one here. Okay, so this is all good. And this should be working now. Okay, so what we can do is we can just save that and hit a reload and just go on to home page. And obviously I forgot to add that in a file as well. We have to mention that where you have to go. So what we can do, we can go into our home.html. It is not going anywhere, so we have to mention that. Okay, so what we're going to be saying here is use your curly braces again and a set of percentage as well. And we'll be telling it a URL where it can go. So we're going to say URL, then in the codes, we'll be writing where you need to go. Again, this is going to be tell us by this, not this one, this name here, okay? Article underscore page, copy that and paste that here, article underscore page. And then we also have to mention our article primary key as well. In this, that's going to be article dot primary key. Okay, so this is where it's going to be redirecting it. So I think this is it. I can save that, and if everything is good, no issues so far, I can go back hit a reload. And there we go. We found article underscore page. Okay. We are having some mistake here. So let's just see how we can fix that. Okay, I found my mistake again. I called it as completely article, but remember we set up a rule that we are going to call this as RT. Again, a little bit mistake that always makes you a programmer. Your number one job as a programmer is going to be solving these errors. So again, we call that as an RT, and we want to have a redirection over RT.primary key, PK. There was a very famous Indian movie, PK, as well. Okay, rest of the stuff we are going to talk later on. Right now, you can just say RT.PK, whatever you call that. And that is why I have explicitly gone ahead and tell you that you can change your context name. Just having a name randomly like that sometimes makes mistake. But in this case, I made a random name and it made a mistake. RT, come on, what I was thinking. Now save that and go back here, hit a reload. And what you'll notice at the left hand side bottom corner, you can see article /1/2/3. If you go there, your personal blog is here. Obviously, that's going to redirect you to the home page. This was just added for fun. No article. This article has no meaning. You can go back and notice your entire article is completely ready. So this was pretty much fun. You learned a couple of more stuff, that how adding the things is actually easy. Yes, I know we added up here and we just made a lot of mistake here. But again, programming is so fun. It's so challenging because we get error, we solve them and all of that. So pretty good. And let me just walk you through what we did here quickly, very quickly. First of all, we went into views.py. We have added up. We learned about changing the context name as well. And we have imported our models, means entire database here. Then we have created a new template, details.py, extended the base to it, and then we went ahead and called that as a Batman. I don't know what I was thinking, but we have added that title and the text here. Then we went into urls.py of our app, and we have added this line here so that we can have a unique URL through the primary key here. And then we just named it something. And then going back onto our home.html, we have added that URL as article underscore page, which is also happened to be the name of this guy, exactly same. And we just added it as rt.pk so that it can have something here. Okay, that was it. Pretty much good. And we learned a couple of more things as well. And I'm going to call this project as done now. I'll surely catch you up in the next video.